Greetings, BUSN 1360 Software Apps for Business students. Welcome to PowerPoint, our Capstone quiz and critical thinking grader, which is a two-part assignment. Want to make sure that you do both parts of that assignment to maximize your points. And of course, we're going to walk through the grader today in our video. Before we do, I do want to talk to you a little bit about our class schedule and specifically the SLO test that is coming at the end of our term, which is upon us, right? So in order to look at our schedule, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into pause, I'm going to go into our class, and I'm going to go under content. And within content, when I want to look at the class schedule, I can click on Getting Started. And you can see I even have some groups under Getting Started, like Syllabus, Schedule, and My IT Lab. Now, there's the syllabus. A lot of times you have questions right now about your grade. The syllabus is going to answer those for you. Here's the class schedule as a web page. Certainly, that is the exact same schedule as appears here in PDF. I just prefer to look at it in PDF, so I'm going to click that. Now, you have completed so much work. There's about a page per, not quite, but about one page per week of our term. So look at all this work that you've completed. You get to just scroll right through it because all of this is done. Great job. We're entering Thanksgiving week, so the end is near of our term. And looking at that last week, week 15 is our last week, you see that you have your SLO test. And let's talk about that for just a moment. Now, this is the schedule, it's not the instructions. But in our schedule, it says that it's critical to read the instructions to avoid point loss. It also tells us that the instructions contain the password to the test. So when you're wondering, how do I get into this SLO test? You need the password. It's in the instructions. The instructions are in pause, under content, scroll to the bottom. Okay. It says it's critical that you read the instructions to avoid mistakes because, and this is really what I want you to see, you will not receive a second attempt. In fact, your instructor does not have the ability to give you a second attempt, folks. So you got to really make this first one count. You're going to enter it methodically. You're going to be prepared. You're just going to be, slow and conscientious in your approach. So again, it's critical to read those instructions. So we're getting ready to go look at those instructions. But before we do, I just want to point out one more thing. We're about to talk about this project, the Module 3 Capstone Critical Thinking and Discussion. Okay, but what about the discussion? As you know by now, the discussions, we had a discussion for Word, we had a discussion for Excel. Now we're going to have a discussion for PowerPoint, and this is a bonus point opportunity for you, and it just encourages some reflective thinking. So this is going to be in pause. So we'll just briefly go to that too so that you know where it's at. Mind the due date because this is the end of our semester, so gotta get it done, and then you can rest, right? Then you can enjoy your break. So I'm going to go back to the table of contents. And I can just click right here. And the SLO test instructions, it said scroll down, table of contents, scroll down, SLO exam required. Click that. And then on the right side, at the very, very top here, it says SLO exam required instructions. Click that. In these instructions, it tells me about my, about the class, about how this works, and it tells me when the test is going to open, when it's going to close. Let's be very mindful of when that test closes. Don't wait until the last minute. Something, you get something comes up and you're not able to take it. That's the end of the term, so can't be any extensions. Okay, there's not, we don't do late work anyway because business always runs on time. So make sure, you've got a week. Do it on the 2nd. Take the test on the 3rd. Take the test on the 4th. Don't wait until the last minute. You have been preparing. You've been using the study quiz in pause, right? So you're ready. Now, is it open notes and open book? Well, there you go. Let me make that bigger so you can see. How do I access it? You're going to go into My Southwest. The common mistake is that students will, just force of habit, you're going to click on pause. Don't click on pause. No pause. You're going to log into My Southwest. You're going to look for this icon and you're going to click it. You're going to read the instructions, and then you're going to see our class, BUSN 1360, and you're going to click that when you're ready. Okay, and then look at this. How strong is this? You can see how strong I'm trying to be. I'm saying, listen to me. It's imperative that you are on a reliable computer with a reliable internet connection, because you only have the one attempt at the test. Remember, your instructor doesn't have the ability to give you a second attempt. Okay? It says, so if you ever arrive at the page where you see the questions, even if you don't have time to look at them, you say, but I only saw the first question, well, you cannot go back in. If you accidentally close that browser page, that test attempt will be ended and you will lose the points. Okay, so just be careful. Just be careful. You don't stress over it. Just be methodical. Now, if you're still reading and following these instructions, then I'll assume you're at your computer and you're ready. You're going to complete the assignment in a single setting. In other words, you're not going to save and come back. You're going to sit down. It's 15 questions. You could take you just a couple minutes. So you can sit down, you can take the test, you have your book ready, in a quiet space, and you're just going to take it. It's going to prompt you for the password, and you see the password, right? And you're going to answer all 15 questions correctly, because you're going to be careful and you're going to be accurate and you're going to be focused on that perfect score. And then when you're done, you're going to hit submit. Now, I say that you're going to know your score immediately. What you will know is how many questions you missed. There's 15 questions. This is a 45-point assignment. So the questions, what that means is the questions are 3 points each. So if you miss 2 questions, right, then 2 times 3 is 6, then you've lost 6 points. So you have, 38 points instead of the 45. So, you'll know. And I will post the grades pretty quickly, of course, after the assignment closes. You don't need to email me anything about this SLO. Just like my IT lab, I see your scores, right? So I will have them. So follow these instructions, be very methodical, be very deliberate, and just know that those are there. The discussion. You may know already, of course, first of all, under content, one of the benefits of following the content is that there are links to everything in here. So when you get to Module 3, and look at this, you see here on the side it even has assigned activities. Now, whenever you have this situation where you've clicked the link and you don't see anything in the right pane, scroll up. Oh, no assigned activities under that one. Oh no, bad example. Let me go back to Module 3 here. I'm glad we did this together. Here it is. I just kind of put it in the wrong spot. I'm thinking I need to move that, but I don't want to confuse you. So here in the Module 3 discussion, you can already see what the directions are. You can click on that link, and that will take you into the discussion. Okay, you see how that's full screen now and I don't have the side panel anymore? This means I'm actually in the discussion. And this is where I can start my new thread. All right. Okay, so you've done 2 of these before. This is your third. So just a reminder to take advantage of that. Final note before we get into the grader is under assessment and quizzes. This is where you have your SLO practice quiz, and notice that it closes the day before the actual test opens. So get in there, look at how many attempts you have unlimited. So get in there, practice. This is a great study tool for you. All right, so enough about that. let's get back into what we're here for, which is the PowerPoint Capstone quiz and critical thinking grader. So I'm going to go ahead and close this PowerPoint. I'm not going to save. And let's go over to my IT lab. So, in fact, let me back up once. In my IT lab, you will see that you have the assignment, and it looks like just one assignment, Module 3 PowerPoint Capstone Quiz, Critical Thinking Grader, badge enabled. So that's a reminder to you that this is the assignment that if you score a 90% or above, that you can earn that digital badge from Pearson, right? The digital badge is a picture that you can display on social media sites that give evidence to your community, people who may potentially hire you later, your network, that you have mastered these skills. So I'm going to click this assignment. And notice that it is 2 parts. And the other thing I want you to notice is that I can't get into the quiz yet. See how it's grayed out? And that's because I must complete the grader first, and then I go on to the quiz. And one reason for that is that the quiz is about the grader. It's going to ask me some reflective questions. It's going to encourage me to think about what I've done a little bit and answer those questions. So you know the drill for this. You click the first part. And I actually already have that open over here. And this part I know you're very familiar with, and I've taken the liberty of already downloading the files. Okay, now before we go too much further, I'm going to give you a word of caution. PowerPoint files, especially PowerPoint files that contain pictures and videos, can take a long time to upload. So when you're ready to come back to this step and upload that file, I want you to be very patient. And I also want you to wait for the words success to display. When you see 100% upload, it might sit there for a little while before you get the word success. So be very ready for that. Get that word success, wait for it, and then submit for grading. Okay. So let's go to, let's see, my folder where I already have the files downloaded. And we'll just take a brief look at them. I mentioned in a previous video that you can view the files either as large icons or as, in a detailed view where it's more of a list. I'm going to go back to large icons for a moment. And what I see is this is the one with my last name, Baker. Remember, my pretend student is Betty Baker. And so that looks like the file I'm going to work in. And then I've got an image, a picture of some balloons, it looks like. And then I have another PowerPoint, and it's called Color. Now, don't get confused when it comes time to submit the files. Don't submit the wrong one. Make sure you're submitting the one you're going to work on. And then look, this is a video that we're going to insert. Double click that one. Oh. Yeah, my computer's a little slow. Oh, there it goes. Cool. Isn't that neat? So we're going to put that in our PowerPoint, a little 9-second video, but we're going to put that in our PowerPoint. Very cool. We have our instructions, and I've already opened those. And then we have a few more images. So let's take a look at our instructions. I've got them open in Word. And you know that I always like to just kind of scroll through them. Okay. One page of instructions. We've got some big ones here. Another big one, but I think they won't be so bad once we get into it. That's just a table. You can see row 1, column 1, so that's not going to be too bad. Ooh, so about 3 pages of instructions, 24 steps. You know, folks, it doesn't matter how many steps it is because we do one step at a time, right? So that's our approach. Let me go back up here to the top. Now, as usual, I do print these, so sometimes I will just make mention of them, and that's just because I encourage you to do the same thing. It's hard to remember as you're changing between this screen and your work. It really becomes confusing because you have to think about a lot of things. So I encourage you to print them as well. Okay, or maybe you have two computer screens. If you're fortunate enough to do that, then to have that, then that's wonderful. All right, so here we go. Let's go over to our PowerPoint, which I have already opened, and you know if it has that yellow bar across the top that says Enable Editing, make sure that you are ready to edit. Okay, so here's our slides, and you see that we have some work to do. Okay. And our first instruction, let's begin with that. Change the theme, let me make this bigger. Change the theme fonts to Trebuchet MS. Well, let's see. Here's my PowerPoints, and I'm going to go under Design, under Variants, because we're going to change this. I will give you a word of caution. The temptation is going to be to select just one piece of text, and that is not the same as changing the text for all of the slides, right? Which is what we want to do. I'm going to go back to the home screen, because if I select, okay, I've got the word, this text block selected right now, and notice it says Century Gothic here on slide 2. If I click this text, Century Gothic. So I want to make one change, more Century Gothic, that changes the fonts all the way through my presentation so that it's consistent. You've seen this if you've ever seen somebody's term paper, maybe somebody's PowerPoint, where some of it is in Arial, some of it is in Times New Roman, some of it is in Verdana. It looks funny. It doesn't look that great. So we want to be consistent. We want to apply this theme consistently. Back to the Design tab. Remember, it's Variants and Fonts, and we're just going to look through our fonts here. There it is at the very bottom, Trebuchet MS. I've selected that, and I'm just going to double check. And when I say double check, if I go to Home, here's the title. Look at that. And if I select this other slide, and perhaps I click in Use It Wisely, Trebuchet. Click here, Trebuchet. So it changed it throughout all my slides. Very powerful, very important. Save. And we'll go back to our instructions. It says click slide 5 and use the reuse slide options to insert all the slides from that color PowerPoint that we saw as one of our downloaded files. Keep the source formatting of the original slides, the inserted slides. And if you're a Mac user, special note for you. Okay, so I did say click slide 5. Let's go back to PowerPoint. Select slide 5. I'm on the Home tab where it says New Slide. This button has two halves. I want to make sure I'm on the lower part. Click that. Reuse slides. If you have, opened other slides, it may suggest them, but if you can see the word Browse, I'm going to click that. I'm going to navigate to my slides and my folder where I have the color slides. Click that and open it. So here are the slides that I'm going to insert, and at the top I have an option to use the source formatting. That may not be selected, so double check. And I am going to insert all of these slides. If I was going to insert only, one or two or three of them, I would click the slide. But can you see up here it says Insert All, and I'm going to click that. And in my Thumbnails pane, there's slide 5, and I can see that the source formatting was maintained. And all of my slides have been inserted. Let's return to our instructions. And we're now on step 4. On slide 13, in the left content placeholder, insert orange 1 image. In the middle content placeholder, insert orange 2. And in the right, I see a pattern here, insert orange 3. And then we're going to apply the drop shadow rectangle picture style to the 3 images, to all 3 of them. Okay, orange 1, orange 2, orange 3. Slide 13. Here's slide 13. And you see those 3 content panes. I'm going to insert a picture, so I'm going to that little icon. Make sure you navigate to the correct folder. Pick orange. That was orange 1. Orange 2. Orange 3. Now I know I'm going to apply the same picture style to all 3 of the images, so rather than do that one at a time, I'm going to select all 3 images and just apply that style one time to all 3 images. I have one image selected. I'm going to hold my Shift key down, and with the Shift key held down, I'm going to click another image. Keeping the Shift key held down, I'm going to click, oops, what did I click there? Something is there. That was really strange. If you pick something up by accident like that, you can either start the process over or click it again to deselect it. When I say start the process over, you would click away somewhere, which deselects. You click in a safe space, such as an upper area of the slide, a blank area. Let me start again because somehow I don't know what happened. I'm going to click the first image. I'm going to hold my Shift key down. I'm going to click this next image. Keeping my Shift key held down, I'm going to click the next image. All 3 images are selected. I'm going to click Picture Format. If you may already be there, notice your picture styles, and the one that they asked us to apply was Drop Shadow Rectangle. And the only way that you can find those is a drop shadow means there's a little shadow, so you might want to hover over some of those, and when you hover over it, you're looking for the tool tip, and I would try to point to it, except if I move my mouse it goes away. Oops, there it is. Okay, and when you see that this is the description that they wanted, drop shadow rectangle, then I'm going to click it. So that's the one right there. And see how they all have that? If I click away someplace, in other words in a safe place on the slide, now I can see that. And in fact, anytime you want, you can go into slideshow. You see the button I'm clicking down here? And that just makes it easier to see the effects of your work. So they have a little shadow. They stand out a little better. And I'm pressing the Escape key to return to my editing view. Let's return to the instructions. Now I'm on step 5. And on step 5 it says to go to slide 3, and we're going to insert our color wheel video. And then we're going to make some changes to it. We're going to apply the monitor gray video style. We're going to set the video to start automatically. And then we're going to compress the video. And that's very important. Kind of 2 notes about compressing the video. Again, video, even a 9-second video like we saw, the color wheel was 9 seconds, can be very large to send through email, for example. So be aware of that. Compressing is good. A 30-minute video compressed is still a very large file, so it may not be possible to email videos. Okay, so just be aware of that. Remember I cautioned you at the beginning, and I said when you go to submit your work, it's going to be a big file, so take your time. I, for one, have a very slow internet. Some of you may have the same situation, so I encourage you to be patient during that upload process. Okay, so let's go ahead and and get to this step, step 5. I'm going to go back to, and it said to go to slide 3. And we're going to insert a video. And again, I've got a placeholder and an icon for inserting video. I want to make very sure that I navigate to the correct folder. And if you notice that I'm taking some kind of shortcuts, basically what I've done is I've copied the path to where my folder is and I'm pasting it in there. So I don't want to get into that. Just navigate to the correct folder. Make sure that you are in the correct folder so that you can find your files. Okay, I have a folder called PowerPoint Capstone, so I'm always making sure that I return to my PowerPoint Capstone folder. I'm going to select color wheel and I'm clicking Insert. And there's our color wheel video. Remember, we played it. Pretty cool. And our instructions are requiring us to apply a style to this video. Right now the video is very flat, and also if we were to go into our presentation right now, this is the presentation mode, we would have to manually click it to start the video. And we just want this to play automatically, so we want that setting as well. I'm going to hit escape to return to my, escape to get, let me get back to slide 3, to get to my editing mode. I'm going to put my mouse on top of the video and I'm going to right click. Do you see that, how it says move here, copy here? That happens when your hand moves ever so slightly, and if that happens, just hit escape. And I'm going to try that all over again, holding my mouse really still. There's the long context sensitive menu that I was looking for, and most importantly at the top you see where it says style. In fact, style, trim, start. I've got many features related to the object I clicked on, which was a video. So click on style, and the style they wanted was monitor gray video. Well, you know, what does a monitor look like? Well, not like this or this. These look more like picture frames. So, you know, what you might have to do is hover over every single one of these styles and read that tooltip to try to find it. And you can see it changing in the background as I hover over. This one looks a little, that's reflected. How about that one? I was going to guess either this one or this one. These kind of look like monitors, but it is almost at the bottom. I think the grouping here is under the intense. See this intense grouping? All the way towards the bottom, monitor gray. And you see now it looks just a little more fancy, right? So if I go into my presentation mode, it looks like we're looking at a television. I'm going to hit escape. Okay, now they also wanted us to make this start automatically. So across the top, I've got the video selected. Go to playback, and right now it says in click sequence, but we want it to start automatically. Let's just double check that that's correct. There it goes. It started automatically. Excellent. I'm going to hit escape. That seems to pause the video, so I'm going to hit escape again to return to edit mode. I'm going to save that because I've done a lot of good things here. And then the third thing that it asked us to do in step 5 after we inserted the video is to compress the video, and this is tricky. I honestly have to tell you that I Googled this, and that's the great thing about our course. It is so practical, it's so real world, it's so things that so many people and businesses and employees and sales reps and students are all trying to do, that there's a host of information out there. So sometimes Googling can be very fast and effective. And what you do is you click on File and you go to Info, and right here is this compression option. right? Save disk space and improve playback performance by compressing your media files. Remember, you learned in your book about lossy compression, especially with pictures. It says compression might affect the quality, right? So be careful about that. And it also gives you some other cautions. So I'm going to click on compress media. And the next thing you might be concerned about is, what should I compress it to? Well, Full HD is going to be the one of the more rich sizes. Okay, and then it goes down. So in the instructions, they did not specify, so I'm just going to go to the smallest possible, the standard. Okay. It did that very quickly. It says compression complete. You saved 0.02 megabytes. Well, it was a pretty small video to begin with, so I'm glad I saved a little bit more. Every little, megabyte counts, right? So that's excellent. I'm going to close that. And then I'm just going to use the arrow up here to return to my edit mode. I also am going to save. Let's return to our instructions. We just finished step 5. We're on step 6. On slide 16, insert the balloon image as a background image on the slide. Change the transparency to 10%. Okay? Oh, 16 is the very last slide. So right now you can see what it looks like. And I'm not just inserting a picture. Remember that I'm making it a background image. To me, the easiest way to do that is to put my mouse anywhere on the slide, not on the text. Make sure it's up here on the slide because we're affecting the slide. If we wanted to affect the text, we would put it over the text, but we want to affect the slide. So I'm putting it up here, just in a blank space. I'm going to right click and format background. And you can see my panel over here changed. I do want to change it to a picture, not that picture. I want to insert my own picture from a file, and again, make sure you navigate to your folder. Mine is PowerPoint Capstone, and it said to insert balloon. Now, throughout our studies, as you went through your chapters and some of your assignment graders, you know that whenever you insert a picture, sometimes it can be difficult to read various text, things like that. This isn't too bad, but they did tell us to change the transparency to 10%. You can either use the slider bar or you can click in the box and type it in. I will say, as I look at that, it seems a little easier, a little better now. It's nice to have that transparency. So I'm going to save that. And let's return to our instructions. And I always just look at that step again to make sure that I didn't skip anything. Looks like I've completed step 6. So now on to step 7. On slide 4, convert the bulleted list to a vertical box list SmartArt graphic. Whew, it's a mouthful. Vertical box list. That's what we're trying to do, a SmartArt. Make the following changes. Okay, we're going to change the colors to colorful range accent colors 4 to 5. These names are so long they sound scary, don't they? But that's just a setting. And we're going to change the style to intense effect, and we're going to change the font size for the 4 shapes to 28 point. Well, we just do it one at a time, folks, one step at a time. So slide 4, we need to convert whatever text is there to a vertical box list. So let's do that. Slide 4. I'm going to start by selecting the text, and I'm on my Home tab. I'm looking at that ribbon, and you're looking across for this shape, and depending on the size of your screen, it may even say Convert. So I'm going to click that, and we need the vertical box list. So I'm looking for something vertical. That's bulleted list. That's block. We need box. What about this? hierarchy. That is really weird. I thought that was it. Well, maybe I need more. Let me go to more. There's categories over here, so I don't have to look through all of them. Let me click the list category. And what is this one? That was basic block. It's vertical bulleted list. Ah, there it is. Okay, you see this one here? Vertical box list. Yeah, just double checking. Click OK. And voila, right? So I should see those 4 things listed there. I've got my text box over to the side in case I need to make changes. But the next thing that they wanted us to do, we're on step 7, is they want us to change the colors to colorful range, accent colors 4 to 5. So I have my, I have my SmartArts selected, but I also have this particular item selected, and that always makes me nervous. I want to select the entire SmartArt. So do you see how this does not have dots? I clicked on the border. I clicked on the edge. That way I selected the object. With the object selected, go to Change Colors, and they told us it would be in this colorful category, and they wanted something called accent colors 4 to 5. Well, okay, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. That's the one that they want. Excellent. They want us to change the SmartArts style to the intense effect. So here are my styles. This is the styles group. And we've used that intense effect for a couple graders now. And it looks like this is it right here, intense effect. Excellent. I've done a couple steps, so I'm going to save. And finally, they want us to change the text font size in all 4 shapes to 28. So they did specify the 4 shapes, so I'm going to click this first one, and you see the dots around it, meaning it's selected. I'm going to hold my Shift key down, and I'm going to click each of the others. Lift up off of the Shift key. On the Home tab, I need to make sure I change this to 28. So we just finished step 7, and we're moving on to step 8. On slide 16, apply the gradient fill, purple accent color 5. And this is all one thing. Goodness, these are long styles, aren't they? So this is a word art style. We're going to apply this word art style to the text questions. So gradient fill, purple, accent color 5, reflection. And then we're going to make some other changes. We're going to increase the font size to 96. We're going to change the text fill to gold accent 3. We're going to apply a wave effect in the transform gallery. We're going to change the shape height. We're going to set the horizontal position and the vertical position. One step at a time. That's a lot for my brain to remember. So I read that to you so that you'll know it, but you know that I am looking also at my printout of the instructions. So here we go. Let's go to slide 16. Let's see, that was our last slide, and it said to apply it. Okay, so here's our select a triple click to select it. Make sure you have all of the text selected. Now let's see, we are going to format that shape, and they wanted us to apply a word art style. So I'm looking here, and here are my styles. and the one they want is gradient fill and purple. So I see that I've got this kind of looks gradient, but that says pattern fill. It's purple, but it's not the right one. Here's another purple, outline black, background color, hard shadow, so that's not right. It did say reflection. This one definitely has a little reflection quality to it. And I'm sorry, let me hover over it again. Gradient fill, purple, accent color 5, reflection. So that is it. Excellent. So let's see. What step was that? That was step 8. And then we've still got it selected. It says increase the font size to 96. So I'm going to go over here to Home. And what you can do is you can just click in that box and either delete what's there or type over what's there. I'm just going to type 96 and hit enter. Okay, so now it's 96. It says change the text fill to gold accent 3. So let's see, we need to make sure that we get the text fill. So that would be this, I think, right? To gold, well, there you go, gold accent 3. And then we're going to apply the wave up text effect in the transform gallery. So we need to go back to shape format and text effect gallery. Here's transform, and we need a wave, and specifically a wave up. So these might look like waves, but those are, yeah, arcs or circles. That's not it. That's not a wave. That kind of looks like a wave, but it says it's a curve. Okay, what is this one? Come on. Oh, that's it, wave up. Okay, so you see it's in the second column, but it's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th row under warp. Wave up. Gotcha. Save that. And let's see, what else do we need to do? We need to change the shape height. So that's going to be over here. And specifically, we need to change it to 2.8. I've typed that in. Press enter. And then it says we need to position it. And to get into the positioning, remember I need to click this call out button. And that changes. Look at my panel name. Format shape. Right, got to make sure that's right. And then click to expand position. And the horizontal, it says, should be 0.8. Enter. And the vertical should be 1.7. Okay, save that. Wonderful. Okay, and I think that took us through step 8. So we're finished with page 1. Good job. Pat yourself on the back, shake it out, woo, get rid of any stress, keep on going. Here we go on to step number 9. On step number 9, it says we're going to go to slide 15, insert an oval shape on the slide, and then we're going to start to change the oval. We're going to change the height and width to be equal. Here's the geometry test. If the height and width of a circle or of an oval are the same, that makes it a circle, right? So we're going to make it a circle. We're going to change it to blue, and we're going to make a moderate effect dark blue accent 6. We're going to change the font color and make it 20 point and bold. Okay, and again, read these instructions. I've got my printout. It's a lot of steps. Let's just walk through that step at a time. Let's start by going to slide 15. So here's my slide 15, and it said we're going to start by inserting an oval. I apologize for the error message. We're going to start by inserting an oval. So insert and shape, and you're just going to pick something that looks like an oval. It's recently used for me. You may also find it in basic shapes. It did not tell us where to put it, so really you can put it anywhere. Maybe I'm just going to put it down here. And it doesn't matter what it looks like because we're going to change that. In fact, we're on page 2 of the instructions now. So it says, let's see, oops, I'm sorry, my pages are, there we go. Pages were out of order. Okay, so on slide 15, insert an oval shape. Make the following changes to the oval shape. We need to make the height. So I've got it selected. I'm going to go up here to height. And I'm going to make the height 1.5. Hit enter. It wants the width to be the same. 1.5. Hit enter. Right, so now you can look at it. It's a very nice circle. It says type the word blue in the shape. So I have it selected and I'm going to start typing blue. Don't need to hit enter, just blue right now. And apply the moderate effect dark blue accent 6 shape style. Well, okay, here are my shape styles. I do see this blue. Well, it says that one's color filled. So let's look at all of our options. Sometimes it just doesn't. Okay. There it is, moderate effect, dark blue, accent 6. Now, while I'm here, I just want to show you something. Notice that everything on this row is moderate effect. It's just different colors. So every row is the same effect, just a different color. That will help you as you work on things to understand. You can kind of see it, but I just wanted to point that out. So moderate effect, dark blue, accent 6. Okay. And let's see, what else did it say? It said change the font color of the text to black background 1. Now, I have the object selected, and I wonder if you can see inside here. Do you see my cursor flashing? Okay, that means that I am editing the text. So if I change the color right now, it's not going to affect all the text. It's going to start from the point that my cursor is because it thinks that I'm editing. So I need to either select all the text, I double-clicked, or you can select the object so that you have the text, but you cannot have your cursor in there editing. Okay, so I double-clicked, I've got that selected. I like to just go to, well, it says text fill. I guess I can do it here. Yeah. And black background 1. And can you see that the text color has changed? That means I've got that text selected. Okay. And like I said, this was a long step, not quite done yet. It also wants us to change the font size. I still have the text selected. It says go ahead and change that font size, which is on home. And we can change this to, and I'm just going to click in there to type it. It says it wants it to be, what, 28, I think it was? 20, I'm sorry, 20. And I typed it and I pressed enter, and then I'm going to apply bold. Okay, so see what it looks like? The text is black, it is 20-point font, and it is bold. And then it said set the horizontal position of the shape. Okay, so select the shape, and we know that that's under shape format. We've already adjusted the height and the width, but if we want to position it, we need to click that. And our positioning is down here. And it wants the horizontal position. What does it want the horizontal position to be? 3.15. I'm going to hit enter. And it wants the vertical position to be 4.5. Oh, look at what we did. We put a little dot at the end of our shape there. Okay, pretty cool. Save. I'm looking at this. I suspect maybe they're going to do a graph with these colors. Oh, okay, so what are they telling us? Company color examples. Look, we're learning something. We're getting a great education as we go through this. They're saying, think about the colors of Walmart. It's blue. Think about the color of Facebook. It's blue. Think about the color of Ford. It's blue. So isn't that kind of cool? So we're learning something as we look at this, right? We're really getting an education here. That's great. Okay, so let's go back to our instructions and continue on. We just finished step 9. We're going to go to step 10. Make a copy of that oval shape and paste it on the same slide. Set the horizontal position to those coordinates. Highlight the text shape and make it red and apply the moderate effect red accent 1 to the shape. Okay, let's look ahead one more, because do you see similar things here? Step 10 and 11. Okay, so 10 is to copy and paste the shape. Step 11 is to copy again and paste again. And up here we make the shape red. Down here we make the shape yellow. So we've gone from blue to red to yellow. And it's saying position the shape thusly. And last time we'd make it red. We went from blue to red to gold. Okay, so we're just kind of doing similar things, so I think we can do these steps pretty quickly. We're going to make sure we select our blue circle, and we're going to copy and paste. Many ways to do that. If I use my toolbar, copy, paste. Okay, see how it made a duplicate? And I'm just going to move it off of the top of that one. I don't want to accidentally mess up that other one. So with this shape selected, it said that it wants me to change the positioning of it. And in step 10, so I'll need to go to Shape Format. Positioning, remember, is under this. Down here, horizontal position. On step 10, the horizontal position is 7.15. Enter. See how it's moving it towards the red? Netflix, remember this one is ultimately going to be red. And the vertical position is going to be 4.5. Vertical is going to be the same for each one, isn't it? Because they're all going to be 4.5. They're just horizontally going to be at different positions. Well, let's see. It also wants me to change the text in here, which I'm double clicking. It wants me to type the word red. That makes sense, but the object is blue right now. We can't have that, so we're going to go up here to our shape styles, click on this, and remember we were using it. See how it's all in the same row? This is that moderate effect. Moderate effect red accent 1, double checking. That is correct. Looking good. I'm going to save that. Let me double check to make sure we did all parts of that. Looks good. And of course we need to do it again, right? So it says copy the formatted oval shape again. I'm going to go back to the original one. It doesn't matter. I don't know if the grader, if it matters to the grader, so that's why I'm going back to the original. Copy, paste. There it is again. Now I'm just going to kind of move it in this general vicinity, but remember we have to be very precise in our steps. We know that we're going to have to type yellow in this one. I want to make sure I select the shape here and format shape. What color am I going to have to make it? Well, in this same row of moderate effect, they said gold. Well, gold, yellow, gold, accent 3, that's it. And now we've got to make sure we get the coordinates right. So positioning down here, horizontal is the one that's going to change, right? So this time horizontal is 11.15, and we know that the vertical is going to be the same as the other ones, and that's 4.5. Back to our instructions. We knocked out a couple steps there. We did 9, we've done 10, we've done 11. So now we're on to step 12. On slide 5, we're going to insert a table, 2 columns, 6 rows, making the following changes to the table structure. We're going to apply that no style table grid. We're going to change the width of the first column and the width of the second column thusly. So, okay, make that a little bigger. Okay, so let's do that. On to slide 5. And as I look at my placeholder, there's an icon to insert a table. And it did say that we want on slide 5 to insert 2 columns. So I'm just going to use my little spinner wheels and 6 rows. So you can either use the clickers or select and type it in there. Click OK. And then they wanted us to, I've got the entire table selected. I can see that from the dots. And they wanted us to apply the No Style Table Grid. Up here are my table styles. You know, remember this one is tricky, the No Style, because you might have to scroll up to find it. No Style, No Grid. Very upper left, very first choice. Okay, there it is. No Style, No Grid, right? Yeah. No Style Table Grid style. Change the width of the first column. So I've still got my table selected. I'm going to go to Layout, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this first column, and I'm sorry, let me read my instructions again. Change the width to 2.4. So see how it says cell size? So I'm going to change the width of all of those cells, because that's my first column, to 2.4. But I selected it first. So drag to select it first. And then I'm going to select my second column, and I'm going to set the height, the width, the width again to, I'm sorry, I can't read that, 6.3. I have my instructions, but the type is too small. 6.3. Okay, so now we got it. Let's save that. And let's go a little bit further. So that was actually I think we did we get that? We've got our first column, all those cells are set to 2.4. We've got our second column, all those cells are set to 6.3. So now, okay, this is just a lot of typing, and if I look at it, I'm going, row by row, and I'm going to fill in column 1 and then column 2. So I'm going to go back over, see, in my table, and I'm going to click in this first cell. And because there's not much to type in this first column, I'm just going to do the first column first and then do the second column. So the first column is red, and I'm arrowing. I pressed my arrow key down, blue, arrow key down, yellow, arrow key down, black, arrow key down, green, arrow key down, and orange. Orange. I have to spell correctly. Now I'm going to click in my second column, and I'm typing, and watch your spelling and capitalization here. That can get you excitement, youthful, bold. So I guess if you use that color, oh goodness, see, and I just told you to be careful, and I messed up. Okay, so when you use red, you're communicating excitement, you're communicating youthfulness and boldness. So we're learning a lot. This is like a little course in marketing with colors, right? Blue, trust, dependable. Ford trucks, right? Isn't that what they said? So think about that. Straight. You may not be a Ford person. I'm just using that as an example. Yellow is optimism. Don't we think that? We say it's bright and it's cheery. Optimism, clarity, warmth. Yellow. I think Gayle King, that's her favorite color. She wears yellow dresses, things like that, right? Black is power. Mystery. Intensity. Intensity. Right. Excellent. And then let's see, green is peaceful. Think nature, right, out in the green nature. Wealth and growth. Yeah, wealth, money. Money is green. And orange. Orange is friendly, cheerful, and confidence. Excellent. All right. I was trying to think that black, when you say power, mystery, intensity, think Black Panther, right? It doesn't that just summon that to mind? All right. So we've got our colors. We're learning a lot about how to market with colors, kind of having a short course here. Now we're going to set the height of the table to 3.9, not the cells, but the table. Now I've just been typing in my table. I do want to make sure I have the table selected, so I'm just clicking on any of the edges of the table. And now over here was cell, but over here is table. And they want the height of the table to be 3.9. Enter. Okay, spaced it out a little bit. And it says center vertically the text in the first and second columns of the table. Now, I've got the entire table selected, so by default I have column 1 and column 2 selected, so I'm good there. And it wants to center vertically the text. I am on the Layout tab, and when I look at my centering options, when we think about centering normally, we think about horizontal centering, which means, between the left and right sides, but they want vertical. Right now the text is pushed up in the cell. See how it's in the, up in the corner, and it doesn't look as good as if it is. I'm going to do this. More centered. Now it's all spaced real nicely from above, from below. Much better. Save. Let's go back to our instructions, because we did type all this in and then I went ahead and moved on to this instruction. We set the height of the table first, and they have a lot of errors in these instructions, extra spacing. Second column. Okay. Step 15. In the table, apply the following shading. Apply red accent 1 to the cell with text red. Apply dark blue accent 6 to the cell with blue. I see a pattern here. Yellow is going to be yellow, green is going to be green, and orange is going to be orange. And I'm going to refer to my instruction sheets to make sure, as I'm selecting these colors, that I choose the correct accent. Very important. So let's go back. I'm going to click anywhere in this red cell, go to Table Design, and red accent 1 to the cell with red. So I'm going to click on Shading, and because I'm not doing a table style, because I'm not going to color the entire table, only shading this one cell. So that's why I picked shading. So red accent 1. I'm going to go to blue. For blue it said blue accent 6, so shading. It's interesting, I'm still kind of in my primary color row up here, so I think this is where I'm going to find them all. There's blue. I'm going to click where it says yellow, and that was kind of this gold. Let's see, gold accent 3, that is correct. Pick that one. Now black, double checking, they didn't tell us anything with black. In real life, I might go ahead and shade that in black, because what if you change your theme later on and there's no longer a black background? So in real life, I think I would go ahead and shade that in black, but I'm going to follow the instructions and I'm going to instead move on to green, shading, and let's see, accent 4, that's correct. Orange. And I thought that was gold. Oh, there's orange. Accent 2. That's correct. So we're trying to kind of create a guide here, right? They can quickly look at a color and say, this is what it means, and save. Cool. This is really nice too, because never assume that your PowerPoint will be viewed in color. Somebody might print this off to a laser printer with no color. They might print it in color and then make copies that are black and white, so they might lose the color. So it's good to have the word. You also may have somebody who is colorblind, and so they can't fully distinguish what is that color, especially between colors like red and yellow and orange, where it might look very similar to someone. So nice to have the word as well as that. Again, save. Okay, so we finished step 15. We're on to step 16. On slide 14, insert a clustered column chart. Clustered column. Replace the spreadsheet information with the following, because you know it comes up with that little pre-filled in spreadsheet. We're going to leave cell A1 blank, and then we're going to type percentage into cell B1, and then the rest of our data is going to go in cells A2 through B5, and this is basically what we're going to type, and we're going to make sure we change the source data. In other words, make sure Excel understands that this is the only data that it's going to use. All right, let's do it to it. Here we go, back to PowerPoint. Slide 14. Oops, scroll. Slide 14. And we are going to insert a chart. And so in my placeholder, here's my chart. And I always make sure it does say clustered column. I always have to make sure column and bar, right? But the columns go up and down. Put our mouse over it, it zooms. That's the one we want. It is already selected. You can see the little border there, so click OK. And Excel just kind of makes up a chart, and it says here's a starting point, so work with this. Okay, and our instructions say to leave cell A1 blank, but to click in cell B1 and to type percentage. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and I'm going to take the same approach to filling in this table that I did with the last table, which is I'm going to click in cell A2 and I'm going to type red, and I'm going to arrow down. Red, and then blue, arrow down. Black / grayscale, arrow down. Now, briefly here, just because it doesn't display properly in the cell, I can look down here and see it's already displaying, so it's fine. I'm going to click in cell A5, and I'm going to type yellow. Now, I need to come back up here in cell B2, type the rest of my data, which is 29%, arrow down, 33%, arrow down, 28%, arrow down, 13%, and enter or tab or however you want to do that. And I see my bars have adjusted. Now, I don't know about the rest of this kind of phony data. I want to make this a little bigger, right? But Excel has highlighted all of this. See how it's saying graph series 2 and series 3, and we can see that down here, and it's, I mean, we don't even know what these bars, what is 2.4, what is 2, you know, crazy stuff. So over this blue, see this blue edge? Get your mouse over that handle. It's a very small blue dot. And when you get your mouse over it, your mouse will change, press and drag so that it's only got that part selected. Okay? See how Series 2 and Series 3 are no longer represented? That's exactly what you want. My graph looks correct also. Now, I'm going to close this, and I want to remind you of the method to double check this. If I want to click, see up here, select data, I get this dialog box that comes up, and we talked about this in one of the previous videos. You may not be able to understand all of it. You know that everything starts with an equal. All formulas start with an equal. Well, sheet 1, we only have one sheet, so I guess that's what it's talking about. And this exclamation point, they actually call those bang. You can say bang when you see that, right? And then you know, you remember from Excel, these dollar signs mean absolute references, so they absolutely sticks to A1 through absolutely B5, and that's absolutely what our instructions said. They said make sure that your data source is A1 through B5, and we have just verified that, and we changed it by dragging that. Okay. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to close that. So I'm back at it. I don't know why it does that. It took me back to my instructions, but I'm just showing you here that this is what we did. We made sure we changed that data source. Look at that, folks. We are rocking and rolling. We're already on to page 3. We're in the final countdown here, right? Okay, we're going to make some changes to the chart. We're going to apply style 4 of the chart. We're going to remove some items, the chart title, the grid lines, and the legend. We're going to increase the font size of data labels, and we're going to change some of the fill. Let's see, so the shape fill to dark blue. The shape fill of the blue to dark blue. The shape fill of the black and gray to black. Change the shape fill of yellow to yellow, basically, to gold. Okay, well, one step at a time. That's how we do it. Let's go back to PowerPoint. So we still have our chart here, and the first thing, we're already on to a new page. Change my printed sheet here. Okay. First thing, I have my chart selected. Make sure that you're going to have the dots on the outside, but you don't want any dots on the inside, right? So if I click a bar by accident, then the formatting and my options are going to be different. So if that happens, click someplace safe, like an upper edge of the slide. A blank space is what you're looking for. And then click, see how my mouse just changed because I'm over the slide? Okay, so but not in it, just someplace where there's no writing, there's no data. So I've got that selected, and they said chart style, and they said number 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I get my tooltip, that is style number 4, and it says note, ensure that the selected style contains the silvery background, which it does, the grid lines, which it does, and inside data points, which it does, or data labels. See those? Those are inside end. Excellent. Okay, now what do we do? Well, it says remove the chart title. So this is a good place to remember that I can either click, okay, see how I clicked the chart title? But if I'm a little uncertain about what is selected right now, because I'm going to delete, right? Maybe I can change to the Format tab and look over here. See how it says chart title? Okay. That I just make sure I've got it selected, and then I'm going to press delete. And what that did, see, I already have this nice title up here, so my data has a little more space to display now. It also wants me to delete those grid lines. Well, now listen, those little grid lines can be hard to select. So maybe I go up here to my drop-down box, and I select it here, which selects it here. Do you see these little blue dots? They're hard to see on the video, but if you'll look at those closely, you can see my grid lines are selected. Whatever is selected will be affected. Press delete. Grid lines gone. Last thing is the legend. I see it down here at the bottom, but if you were unsure, then again, you could go up here and select legend. See how it's selected? Press delete. And you're probably chanting to yourself, whatever is selected will be affected. And if so, good job, because you're exactly right. Save. Okay, a little bit more work to do. We're going to increase the font size of the data labels to 32. Well, what are data labels? These things here are data labels. But again, if I'm unsure, I can go up here, series percent data labels. See how the dots surround those? Not just one of them, but all of them. And I'm just going to go to home because that's where my setting is. And they want us to change it to what, 32? 32. Much easier to read. Look at that. Very nice. Save. That excellent work. And change, now it says the shape fill of the blue data point to dark blue accent 6. Okay, when they say data point, well, this one piece of data is 33%. It's just represented by the bar. So I'm going to click this bar. Where are your dots? The dots are on all the bars. That's not what I want. So I click it again. It's not a double click. It's click, pause, click. Because think of yourself as being a drone, and you're up in the sky looking at the graph. And when you first look at it, that puts the graph is selected. It's the target. Then you look at the columns, and it's all those columns. They're all selected. Then you look even more closely and you target the one column. So first you click the chart, then you click the series of bars, then you click the one bar. Click, click, click. Not triple click. Click, click, click. If the chart is already selected, click. That's the series. Click. That's the one data point. Cannot emphasize that enough. Commonly trips people up. Okay, and what am I going to do? I'm going to change that to blue. I'm going to fill it in blue. So here is my shape fill. And not just any old blue, but dark blue, accent 6, just like our table. Select that. And guess what? Black gray scale, we're going to select that. Check your dots. Should not be on any of the other bars, just that one. I'm going to shape fill, and I'm going to pick black background 1. And let's see, now we go on to yellow. This is yellow. Check your dots. Shape fill. And what are we doing? Gold. Accent 3. Perfect. Save. It was a long task, that particular task, but how'd we do it? One at a time, because that's how you do it. One at a time. On to step 18. On slide 15, we're going to select the blue circle. Remember those blue circles? We're going to press Shift, and then we're going to select that rectangle shape with the blue outline, and we're going to group it. We're going to repeat that for the 2 remaining shapes on the slides to group each of the circle shapes with their associated rectangle shapes. Okay, let's go to slide 15 and see what they're talking about. Here is slide 15, and it said we're going to click the circle, and we're going to hold our Shift key down, and we're going to click the rectangle shape. And see how the dots, each one of those is selected? Now, here's the kicker again. Whatever is selected is going to be affected, but to affect it, we're going to right-click on it. Never ever right-click out here, because now I'm going to affect what's out there. If I'm trying to affect this, I have to keep my mouse on top of it. So, you know, the easiest thing, I could put my mouse on top of this edge, but that's hard to do. So I'm going to put it right over this big blue circle, and I'm going to right-click. And this is going to give me the option to group. And that's what they want me to do. Now, how can I tell it's grouped? Because the dots. See how important those dots are? There's no longer dots around the individual shapes. The dots are around both shapes. Now, let's do that again because they want us to. They said pick the rectangle again, hold our Shift key down again, and click the red. Now, I'm going to tell you a little shortcut, and let's see if it works. I believe the keyboard shortcut for group is Control G. Yeah. To ungroup, it's Control U, right? So Control U. Oh, nope, underline. Never mind. Control G is to group. Why is that important to know? Because sometimes you might be grouping a lot of shapes, a whole bunch of shapes. And if that's the case, then sometimes you might accidentally click something that's not part of the shapes. You've spent all this time trying to select everything, and just because of kind of a mouse fumble, you lose your selection and you have to select them again before you can group. So knowing that keyboard command can be really handy. So once again, click the yellow, hold my Shift key down, click the next shape, and I'm just teaching you the keyboard shortcut, Control G. Okay, so we deepen our learning a little bit. Save. If not, you can always use the menus. Step 18. Check that one is done. Now we move on, it says to slide 14, and we're going to apply the fly-in animation, tells us the category, to the chart. Set the effect options to sequence by elements in series. Set it to start after previous, and then set the delay to 0.75. Okay, so let's go to slide 14. What does that look like? That's our chart. So we're going to select the chart and we're going to animate it, right? Yeah. Animations. And it told us fly in. So we're going to do fly in. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay. And it said change the effect options to select sequence by element. So here's our sequence way down here by element in series. Pretty cool, right? Now I'm going to save this because I want you to see what we've done so far. And you see all these numbers over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's mouse clicks. That's how many items you have animated in there. And because remember we did it by elements inside of this. So if I go into presentation mode, it says which colors are companies using the most. Click. That's the first element that was animated, right? Click. Now, I'm not saying this is wrong. It's not what the instructions ask us yet, but maybe I want to talk about red. Who did we say was red? Who was using those companies, those colors? I'm going to talk about that. Then I click. I'm going to talk about blue. Remember Facebook, Walmart, right? Ford. Click. Talk about that. Click. And then yellow. Okay. Click again onto the next slide, and so then I can see those. Escape. Let's go back to slide 14. We're on 15 now. We're going to go back to 14. So we're not done yet. Select your chart again. If you did what I did, select your chart. Okay, and it said it did not want those to be clicked each time. Instead, it wanted them to start after. So see up here, after previous. And again, let's see the difference. Cool. So your audience is not waiting and waiting and waiting. The data just comes in. Hit escape. Okay, we still have our chart selected. The final thing was they wanted us to change the delay to 0.75. 0.75. Enter. Save. Let's just see it. Make sure. It gives our audience just a little time to digest the information that is coming in, right? Escape. Again, saving just to make sure. Let's go back to our instructions. That was step 19. Step number 20, it says add page numbers to all slides with the exception of the first slide. We don't typically put a page number on the first slide, right? That kind of seems funny. Page numbers can be very useful. I was in a presentation actually just yesterday where the presenter was not the person in control of the screen, and we're all attending virtually. And the presenter was able to say, if you would advance to slide 15, as you will see on slides 15 and 16. And so it was a really great way of being virtual and describing the common reference point. So that can be very handy. Also, sometimes people will have printouts and handouts, and you can say to the person, you can say to your audience, you may want to put a note on your handout for slide 12 that the data has changed. We just got updated reports. Something. Anyway, really great. So notice that we're saying page number, add a page number, but I'm talking about slides. But typically a slide is a page, right? So let's go back. And we're on our slides. And I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to home just to orient myself. But we're talking about inserting. I'm sorry. I get error. My computer has a little issue. Insert and slide number. So we said set a page number. So I'm going to click slide number. Clicked it. Oh shoot. There we go. I'm sorry. Something with that little error. So maybe it's because I had my chart selected. So you may want to click on your slide. So I clicked on slide number. And I'm going to insert a slide number, but it did say don't show on the title slide. And again, it just kind of messes with the appearance. And so people, it's like the first page of a report. A lot of time, the title page, we don't typically put a number on that on the cover of a book, so it's just not commonly done. So we're going to apply that to all slides. We see a little page number up there for this particular design. That's where the page number is, so pretty cool. All right, save that. I'm sorry, I do want to go back. I do not. Okay, I just want to make sure. The template is different on some of our slides, and so you can see it's not appearing that slide number. And that's because, remember, they're not all using the same design background, right? The templates are different. So do not be alarmed. Do not be alarmed. Okay, we did step 20. We're on step 21. Apply the push transition to all slides. So as we go from slide to slide, we want it to look, here's what it looks like right now. Let's see, I just have, well, let me just start with slide 1. So here's slide 1, and as I click, I go to slide 2, go to slide 3, there's our video, right? Slide 4. But can you see it's just, I mean, there's nothing fancy. It's just boom, there's the next slide. Boom, there's the next slide, right? So I'm going to hit escape to go back to edit mode. And I'm going to change to slide sorter, right? We've been talking about presentation. See slide sorter down here? Why? Because when I'm working with a lot of my slides, it's sometimes just easier to change to the slide sorter view because I'm not in edit mode, and it allows me to change the order. It allows me to select them. So I'm going to select the first slide. I am going to scroll, not clicking, scrolling to the last where I can see the last one. Hold your shift key down and click only the last slide. Lift up off of your shift key. Don't click anything, scroll. Do you see how all of these slides have an edge around them, meaning that it took from the first thing that we clicked to the last thing that we clicked, and it selected all of it. So all of the slides in our presentation are selected. So what did we do? I'm going to click. That deselects. I clicked the first slide, I scrolled, I held my shift key down, I clicked the last slide, and I let up. With all of my slides selected, I'm going to click on Transitions, and the transition that I'm going to apply is Push. Before I do that, look at your slides. You see this? Now this one has a little star, meaning that it is animated. It's telling me that right now. I'm going to click on Push. That's the transition they wanted. And now do you see how all the slides have that little star? What that is action. It means there's action associated with this. So that action happens to be the transition. And so I can see, and in fact you can see as I hovered over that, it was showing me the transition. Well, okay, it's not going to do it now. Okay, click away someplace so that they're not selected anymore. I'm going to go to slide number 1. I haven't saved. I'm going to save. Go to slide number 1 and now go into your presentation mode. You can also F5. Did you see what that push transition did? It gave it a little snazz, didn't it? A little fancy. Now, I will caution you, don't make people dizzy with this. Let them know, their brain needs to know what to expect so that it's just not getting too crazy. All right, so save that. Let's go back to the instructions. We applied the push transition to all slides. On slide 1, it says type "Welcome to the Power of Color Presentation, period," and include the period as a speaker note. So, okay, slide number 1. I'm going to double click it. What does that do? That takes me back to my editing mode. You could also click this icon down here. In my editing mode, if you don't see your notes, you may need to expand this area down here for notes. Sometimes it can be pushed so far to the bottom that you think you don't have that, and so you just push your mouse over that and draw up. It says click to add notes. I'm going to click right there, and it says welcome to the Power of Color presentation. Make sure to put a period there. I'll tell you some neat tricks as a presenter that you can put on your first slide. You can put smile, relax, breathe, say, greet the audience, introduce yourself, introduce the panel if you have multiple people with you. So you can put some things there to break your tension as you get ready to, address people. You can put a little note, look at the audience, smile at the audience, something like that. You might think it's silly. I've been speaking publicly to classes for a very long time now, and it's helpful. It really does help sometimes. Everybody gets nervous, right? All right, so we have that there. That was task number 22. We're almost done, folks. It says check the presentation for spelling errors and correct any errors. And I'm laughing at that because it looks like Word sees an error. Right? It sees several errors through here. So I think they should have done a little spell check here. But okay. Let's see, back into PowerPoint. I like to begin at slide 1 because I want to make sure that as it reviews the presentation that it starts at slide 1 and goes all the way through. This task is something you do as a reviewer, and so I click the review tab and I'm going to go to spell check. Now you know and I know, okay, it's going to correct this, but you also know that sometimes a word can be spelled correctly, but it is not the word that you want. So always do this, but there's no substitution for going through your document and looking at it. I'm going to give you one more tip before we finish this, and that is that sometimes our brains fill things in. It corrects errors for us. Our brains are just smart like that. So the way to find errors and stop your brain from hiding those errors is to read things backwards. The next time you're trying to proofread, let's say you have a one-page paper and it's 3 paragraphs. Instead of starting at paragraph 1 and sentence 1, why not start at the last paragraph? Read the last sentence. Read the sentence before the last sentence, and then the sentence before that. Your brain will be forced into the structure of the sentence, and you're much more likely to find errors. So spell check is great. I highly encourage it. I'm just saying it is one step in reviewing your document. So look at that. Your brain, my brain might look at that and say persuasion, but that's not spelled correctly, but our brain sometimes fixes those errors for us. Here's the correct spelling. I'm going to go ahead and change. Oh, it went through. Spell check complete. Okay. Save. Step 23 and step 24 is to submit the assignment. So we're at the end, and the proof is in the submission, isn't it? So let's see, shall I close the instructions? And I definitely need to close my file. Never try to submit with this file still open. Let's go back to my IT lab to the grader. And remember what I cautioned you about. Be very patient as you submit this file. Navigate to the correct folder. Make sure that you've got your correct work. Make sure you're submitting the right file. It's not the color one, it's the one with your name on it. Select that, click Open, Upload, and remember, I've got to wait until it says Success. Even if it says 100%, I need to wait. Look how slow this is uploading, very slow. For the sake of the length of the video, I'm going to pause the recording and let it upload for a little bit. Okay, a little over a minute has gone by. I'm at 100%, but I don't have the success yet. I'm waiting. Don't hit that submit for grading. Not yet. You have to wait until it says success. I say this because, do you see, it takes about I have a slow network. Maybe your network is faster than mine. But PowerPoints, they are so big. We had a video in there. About 2 minutes has gone by. I really want you to see how long this takes. That's why I'm not pausing the video. And there we go. I was going to say it makes me nervous because I feel like it's not going to work. What just happened? I don't have success yet, so I don't trust it. I don't know what just happened. I have to say that's new for the bar to disappear. Never seen that happen. I'm really thinking that it should display success. Okay, my fingers are crossed. I'm going to hit submit. Oh, no, it seems to be frozen. Okay, well, I'm glad this is happening with us on this video together because I'm going to close this window. I haven't submitted anything, so the worst case is I'm just going to have to submit it again, right? I'm going to refresh this. It's possible maybe it logged, okay, it logged me out. Hang on just a minute, let me log back in. Okay, so I probably had a unique situation in that I had been logged in for so long as I was working on the assignment that it logged me out. So I had to exit, come back in, log in, and open the assignment again, and now I'm submitting the file. And just like before, it's going to take a little time for it to upload. Just to so this, well, there we go, we're up to 80%. I do want you to see, though, you have to be very patient. So we're at that 100%, and I just have to wait for that success, and that can take some time. Yay! How about that? So this was the success that I was looking for. Now submit for grading, and again, it might take just more than a second this time. Some documents it can grade really, really fast, but the PowerPoint, it's kind of a big file. I'm going to click on View Submissions. "98%, not 100, 98. What did I do wrong?" We got to go through and look. Be brave. What did I do? On slide 5, insert a table with 2 columns and 6 rows. Make the following changes to the table structure. No style, table grid. Change the width of the first and second columns. And okay, so I've got some kind of error in there. My style. So the style was not set correctly. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you're watching this video, you can leave me a comment to tell me how smart you are and how to fix that problem. I will save you the time of going back and me kind of researching it, but of course, that's our process, right? So we can get that perfect score. 98% is, first of all, a respectable score and get you into the badge category, get you into our class in the category where you make all those points. It also, here's the important part, go back, remember not to forget that you've only done one part of the assignment. Go back to the assignment because there's two pieces. Don't forget that. I know you want to do a victory lap at this point, but there's two pieces. Now that you have passed this, you can go in and take the quiz. Now, here's my notes of caution for the quiz. It's a thinker. The quiz is your opportunity to reflect. Why did you do the things that you did in this presentation? What's the real world value? You're giving this presentation to your peers. Why are you giving it to them? And so think deeply about those types of things. What's the other thing that I want you to remember? The other thing I want you to remember is you might miss a question on the quiz. Why not take it again? Why not take it again? Go through it again. You know how you have those questions where you say, I know it's either this one or that one, and you got it wrong the first time? I want you to learn. I don't want you to just say, okay, well, I missed it, and so I lose the points. Oh, well, don't do that. Go back through and take it again so that you learn those correct answers. That's why I also give you unlimited attempts on submitting that grader, because I want you to go back through and look at your mistakes. I make mistakes. I've been teaching and using PowerPoint and these software programs for a long time, and I might misread an instruction, right? I might click something that I meant to click A and I clicked B by accident. So these things happen. Just go back in, no problem, and fix it and get all those points, because folks, I know you can do it. Also, since we are winding down, once again, don't forget about the SLO test. And I just want to take this moment to thank you for all your hard work. I know that this class involves a lot of hands-on and a lot of doing, right? It's not so much about the theory as it is the practice and the understanding of the practice with the terms and the theories. And that can be frustrating, and you stuck it out, and you, I hope, learned a lot. I hope you feel that you learned a lot, and I appreciate you. And I just wanted to say thank you. So with that, I'll sign off. Thanks for being such an awesome class. We'll talk to you later. Have a good rest of the term. And don't forget those remaining assignments. Look at your schedule. Thanks. Bye.